Hello, Internet. It's time for another Wednesday's cereal. So, I want to take you guys through some recent purchases of mine and just talk about some of the collecting I've been doing. Obviously, I have no idea who this is going to. I'm mostly recording this for Damien, but if you're here, thank you for watching. So first, I found some stuff. I was looking online and I found out that Mirage has a warehouse that they're still selling from, which is crazy. I've ordered from here before, but it was years ago when it made more sense. And the fact it's still around weirded me out, but I found some stuff and I was excited to get it. So, first off is The Collected Paleo by Jim Lawson. This is a whole dinosaur only tale. It's interesting to see a book that's willing to take that angle. This is a whole different kind of thing. This is part of what Mirage was doing, really, is these kind of crazy indie experiments. And I'm looking forward to kind of seeing that. Although what's funny is on the back here, I'm not seeing Mirage, I'm seeing Empty Sky. So who knew? Next is the first 4 issues of Plastron Cafe. After being advertised to about this book for most of my life, I saw a chance to nab it and did so. Apparently, I'm missing the last issue, so that's interesting, but we'll see how it goes. That should be a fun little check. A little more familiar are 2 issues of Gizmo and the Fugitoid. Um, that should be an interesting little side chunk. And then we get to some Holy Grail stuff. So I was able to find new issues of Volume 4 of the Ninja Turtles. For those of you who don't know, Volume 4 of the Turtles was the last Mirage published Turtles chunk. It came after the Image run, but didn't relate to it at all. It picked up like if years had passed after Volume 2. And there's some backstory filled in eventually, but it ignores all the crazy Image stuff, which is understandable but a little sad. Uh, but if you're a Turtles collector like I am now, uh, it's hard to come by. The first 12 issues, I'd say, are more or less in circulation. You're going to be paying a bit of a pretty penny for individual issues that otherwise haven't been collected thus far. But when you get to the back end of the run, it gets buck wild. So I've had through 18 for years, and I've basically just given up because there would occasionally be like an issue that would come up, but it would cost $100. But I was able to nab 19, 21, and 22 for whatever the shipping was for this whole package, plus, $3 to $4 a pop, which is as good as you're finding these things. And this goes through issue 32, but more on that in a minute. Okay, so I went to eBay just out of curiosity since I didn't think I was going to find these. Why not give it a whirl? I found issues 20, whoa, glare, 20, 24, and then apparently a beat to shit 27. I say beat to shit. If you look here, you'll kind of see this tape mark. It's hard to see behind the plastic. I don't want to take it out right now because this is banged up. But I had to pull an old trick I learned where, especially on covers, like this is something I've only done on trades before, but this was so bad I had to try it here. If you have an adhesive that just doesn't seem to be coming off, like some sticker that Second and Charles or back in the day Hastings would put on trades, you peel it off and you have that residue that just sticks. You don't want that getting on any of your other stuff, of course, as well. So you have to lightly take usually a paper towel, but if it's even lighter, a tissue, like a really small spot. Get some rubbing alcohol, put a little bit on, see if you can get it to bleed through first to like another fold of whatever you're using, Kleenex or paper towel, and try to rub gently, and if that takes it off, great. If you have to go to the heavier side, go to the heavier side, but apply lightly, because if it touches anything around other than the adhesive, it could get on the book and damage it permanently. So, bit of a deft hand. I've seen people use Q-tips if there's enough to apply, and if you want to apply straight. So there's probably some smarter way to go about this, but I'm just using what I know. And the idea is essentially the alcohol will absorb all the moisture of the adhesive and then cause it to peel off. So I tried that with this book and it didn't really seem to take. It's in a bit of a better shade now of condition, but yeah, it was hard to pull out of the bag because it was sticking to the bag so much before. So I had to go get a new bag and all that. Boo-hoo. But yeah, it's funny when you buy this stuff online. Sometimes they're like, it's not in the best condition. I'm like, whatever. Don't mind a beat up comic. But then you get this weird, bizarre stuff, which is never fun from my perspective anyways. Okay, and I was excited, so I want to make the video, but I do have a few more on the way, and I do kind of want to walk through that real quick. I am getting issues 25 and, that issue 25, and then I'm getting the big one, which is 31. Now, what's interesting is I said this one to issue 32. Now, 31 only came out in 2016, which for those playing the home game is well into the latest Turtles run that's now at nearly 100 issues. You can kind of see, like, that seems weird, right? And then what's interesting is 32 came out in about, let's see here, I said 2014, so it would have been 2012, somewhere around there. So 32 came out before 31, and these are the last issues of these run, and so both of these only had a printing of around 10,000. And so they're these super weird, deep Turtles fan collector's items only. I picked up 31 for $42, which is a lot for an issue, but given everything I'm going through, I was willing to part for that. And then 31, I put down some bids, but that's going for over 100 and just past what I'm comfortable for frankly what I know is not a great comic. This is pure completionism going on right now. I am so close to owning every like true blue Ninja Turtles comic through and through in one form or another, at least. Part of the appeal of this volume 4 is I can't get it in another way. But let's see here. If I run through real quick, volume 1, I have most of in issues. And then I have recolorings of what they've done with the works. I know there's some other in TMT Classics, but that's very scattershot, and I didn't really want to go down that road. But I do own all those issues in one form. And the first 12 issues of Ninja Turtles I owned recolored twice in 2 different ways. So there's that, but I don't own issues. Well, I own a 4th printing of issue 1. But not a first printing, obviously. That would be like maybe someday, but no day soon. And then issues 2, 3, and 4. Struggling to remember off the top of my head whether or not I have a 5. No, I have a 5. And 11 is coming in, and then with that, basically from there up, I own volume 1 sorted. Volume 2 I've had sorted for years. That's pretty easy to come by anyways, though harder now. Volume 3 Image I got all of a long time ago, and I'm now recollecting the colored edition. I should go back and get variant A for all the covers, because those are the new covers, whereas I obviously have all the old covers. I just wasn't paying attention when I was buying some of them, so I might sort that out just for completionist sake. That's 3. Volume 4 told you about. Then my next hole that I could kind of fill is the Archie Collection, which I don't want to try to get all the issues not because I don't want to try to get all the issues, but the relative enjoyment versus cost, and the fact that I actually have owned a chunk of them and gotten rid of some of them. Not because I got rid of them per se, but because they literally fell apart on me. They were some of my earliest comics, and I didn't treat them like comics. I was a kid, and they just got read to pieces. So I'm trying to recollect those in the IDW republishing that's coming out, and so I'm just going to probably go that way for those. I have the new Turtles Adventures, which is the comics based on the 2012 animated show, collected and trade. I have, or not the 2012, yeah, the 2012 show. I also have the ones before that. They're written by Peter David for the earlier show, 2008 or 9 or something, somewhere around there. The second truly like cartoon animated show. Have those in trade, and then the newest cartoon ones I haven't collected at all. I don't know if I care, honestly. Maybe someday, just again for completionist sake, when it's in a trade, I can grab those. And then all the new stuff, all the new IDW run I've got as it came out, except for the first issue, but obviously I acquired it since. Yeah, so my Turtles completionism like flaring up again, and so I'm looking at a lot of this and checking it out, but some of those price points are pretty steep for comics that most people wouldn't want. It's kind of funny because, you know, normally with these sort of things, there's the keys, and those are worth money, but those are comics people are looking after, first appearances, big events, da da da. But these are just oddities, and that's all it is, which fits Ninja Turtles pretty well, doesn't it? So, yeah, quick update, and that's a lot of it. Obviously now, most of my output isn't through here. If you're just checking it out, please check out Damien and I's podcast. I'll put a link below. The podcast is Never Stay Dead. We just kind of do a little book club thing, pass ideas back and forth of what to read and talk about it in our delightful manner. And a lot of my output is also through the Untold Talks of Spider-Man. If you haven't heard of that and you're watching this, I don't know what happened, but yeah, that is a whole thing. I'll also put a link. Check that out. And yeah, and if any of you are curious in like Turtles talk, I've been playing around with ideas. I'd love to like dig in and talk Turtles, but I don't know what a good format would be. So I've been kind of thinking about it. The other trouble is I don't really know anyone else that reads or talks about Turtles, so I don't really have a good benchmark to go off of. I tried looking up some channels, didn't really find anything, and that wasn't just like cartoon based. And then I started looking at podcasts, and there's a few out there, but they're kind of very rambly, not staying on topic, not very interested in the comics usually, though somewhat. And I don't know. I feel like there's definitely room for it, which makes it exciting. But maybe it's a little too niche, and I'm just not realizing and blinded to it because of my love of the franchise. So, yeah. Check y'all later with another comic review.